Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1932 of What You Up To Now, documenting the journey, the online journey primarily as I transitioned in 2017, 2018 from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business, corporate and business ownership, different businesses, different industries, different corporations. I had a really fun corporate career while simultaneously having my own businesses on the side, which I think gave me a very different perspective on my corporate career. I was willing and able to take risks. I thought differently than the majority of people that I worked with because I had an understanding of what it meant to own the business and be responsible for everything in a business. And a lot of people that are working for someone else have never had that experience or never seen things from that point of view or that perspective. And it gives you a whole different way of viewing the world. And it reminds us that everybody sees things differently. Everybody has a different perspective on everything in life. So today, our idiom for supersize your business, to kind of coincide with this year's annual challenge, the Get Your Goals annual challenge, was to a toss up. It's a toss up. We've talked about tossing a coin before, and I attempted to toss a coin, and of course it fell on the floor, which is fine. But talked about the origin of that idiom. It's kind of uncertain, but it's suspected to go back to ancient times because for thousands of years, people have been making coins with different sides. And so it was an easy way to toss a coin to make a decision that needed to be fair or, not prejudiced. And there was an equal opportunity of either one being selected. So we think of it as a coin toss in sports. Remember when my kids played, my daughter played softball and my son played baseball, Little League, they would toss a coin to see which team was up and which team was in the field first, which is, an unbiased way of making a choice or a decision between alternatives that don't really matter, right? I think that the team that's up first thinks they have an advantage, but you want it to be a fair choice between who gets to be up first or not, etc. A lot of times in our businesses and in our lives, it's a toss up. It's a toss up whether we do one thing or another. It's a toss up whether we go to this college or another college. And we're never really going to know what the absolute options would have been or the outcome would have been or the results of making either choice until we actually make a choice, take action, and then see if we're going down the right road or not. And if we are, great. If we're not, guess what? We can turn around and make a different decision, make a different choice. We forget, and a lot of times we start down a path and we convince ourselves that just because we started down this path, we have to keep going down this path long after we know it's the wrong path for us. I've been guilty of that. I've made a choice, made a decision, been going down a path and realized, oh my God, this feels terrible. Why am I still doing this? I've done it with businesses. I've done it in relationships. I've done it in a lot of areas and aspects of my life. But when we realize that we're not where we need to be because it doesn't feel good to us, that's when we need to stop, usually take a deep breath and just make a different choice, go in a different direction. So I actually had surgery yesterday, which is why I have the Quasimodo shoulder, and I'm feeling kind of miserable today, not going to lie. And that's why I continue to show up. I show up, I do my videos, even if I feel rotten, because I know that moving always feels better than standing still and not doing anything. At least that's been my experience with any type of pain, any type of challenge, is that if I am moving toward a solution, I'm always going to feel better than if I'm stuck and I'm frozen and I'm not taking any action. So today I showed up in my robe to remind myself to take it easy and lay low today and not do all the things I normally do so that I can recover more quickly. This year in our annual challenge is the Get Your Goals annual challenge. And we just so happen to be focusing on physical well-being and physical health this month. And our action today is we're working on something called the SOAP framework, which came about during the pandemic. And it's a framework for making choices and decisions and dealing with challenges and setbacks and obstacles that come our way that ensures that we always have the best possible result for us. So we use the SOAP framework to analyze a situation, and we do it enough that we install it in our subconscious. So moving forward, we automatically apply this to anything that comes up in our life, and we choose things and we create options for us, and we choose among those options, and we determine if we're making progress so that we are doing the right thing for us at any given time. So today we were talking about different options, and I share what I call the 10, 3, and 1 tool. It's just a brainstorming tool where we come up with at least 10 possible ways to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And that's what goal setting is all about. It's about knowing where we are, identifying that, and that's the S in the SOAP framework, the story, the situation. We tell ourselves a story, and I shared a couple of tools yesterday to do that. To share our current story, we used storyboarding, and we just map out what actually is going on right now. And then for our desired story, we did a little vision boarding, and we said, okay, well, what do I want? This is where I am. This is where I want to be. And then that creates the gap that we go about filling with the rest of the SOAP framework. So today we brainstormed options. I shared some of the options that I'm using. Of course, since we're working on physical well-being and physical health, and I ended up having to have surgery pretty quickly. It came up last week, and then my surgeon called and said, hey, we're going to do it Monday morning. So that's what we did. That very easily and quickly became the goal that I am soaping right now. So I shared about 7 or 8 options that I've already brainstormed of how I am going to reach my goal of getting through this surgery as quickly and recovering from it as quickly and, and easily to get back to my normal for me as easily and effortlessly as possible. So I shared some of the things I've already brainstormed for that, and I'll come up with 3 more, and then we will I'll pick 3 of those, and we'll talk about those tomorrow as part of the SOAP framework, where we analyze and we take action immediately on some of those things. Now, I already took action yesterday on a couple of those things because I know I'm not waiting to go through the SOAP framework for 4 days before I take action and create what it is that I want. All right, that's it. That's all I'm working on today. If I can, well, I'm working on other things, but they have nothing to do with this. If I can help you in any way, ask. You can hit me up at pajamagramma@gmail.com via Voxer. Pajamas are a reminder today. Otherwise, you can find me and message me if you've got a question. I always like to be a resource for people that have a question, because I know how hard it was for me when I first started creating my own businesses and doing things online to ask people for help or ask a question. Once I Googled it and ran through some things to try to find an answer and struggled with it, usually for about 2 weeks was my average. I would struggle with something I was trying to figure out, and then I would ask the question, and as soon as I just typed the question or asked or texted or Voxered someone, all of a sudden the answer would appear right in front of me. And so I know that by offering myself up as a resource, that if you just ask me, guess what? You probably already know the answer to the question that you're asking. All right, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.